Good morning, good morning. This is Kat with Kat's Pocket. I hope you all are having a lovely morning. It is a beautiful day here in the Pacific Northwest. We went and tried a brand new coffee shop this morning, and the people there were so kind and so nice. They told us all about the coffee and all about all of their other products, and they were very busy. They still took the time out to tell us all of that, so I'm going to write them a really nice review. And we also went for a very nice drive, kind of out in the country, and took some photos, and it's just been a really nice morning. Excuse me. I feel invigorated today to get some work done. I have lots of photographs to take and listing drafts to create, and I also have some items that I have to prep and clean. So that is what is on my agenda today. I'm going to try to move through this kind of quickly and show you some of the items that sold in the month of September. This is a Lodge brand cast iron skillet cat clock. It is heavy welded iron, and I've had this item for over a year. It's one of the very first items that I sourced, and I got rather excited when I saw it because it was very heavy and very whimsical, and I thought it would do well. I actually spent $12 for this item. I did accept a best offer of $94, and I think I had it listed for $115. That's what it looks like. And here is a glitter tube wand, and this one is vintage. This one was unbranded. If you do happen to find the ones that say Wonder Wand or any of the character vintage glitter wands, maybe Sailor Moon or Lisa Frank, those ones can bring very good money. This one brought $14, so my profit was just under $10 on this after my cost of goods and eBay fees. And this is a Cactus Desert Coaster trivet, Southwestern style. This is a hand-painted trivet. This actually came with a set of other chili pepper trivets that I bought, and this one was kind of the odd man out. Didn't belong, but when I went sourcing, they had included this with all of the other items, and so I was going to redonate this and decided to just list it because you'd be surprised just how many items sell. Fix that a little bit. You'd be surprised what sells. So I did list this by itself. It sold for $5. The buyer paid over $14 with shipping, and she also left me she also left me a great review. And so that was a win-win. It was very easy to ship and easy to photograph as well. And these are a pair of Marc Joseph patent leather Mosley Avenue zip boots. I've had these also for over a year. I paid, I believe, $12 for these, and I had several offers in the range of $25, and I decided to just let them sit and see what happens. They eventually sold for my full asking price of $52. And so my profit after cost of goods and eBay fees was probably around $38. And this is a vintage Imperial glass Scotty. It's a paperweight figurine, and it sold for $23.99. This item I have seen sell for $50, $40 to $50. However, because there were so many of them listed, I decided to drop my price down low and get it sold. Oversaturated items will take a long time to sell, and in order to get them to move quickly, I always will drop my price down when I've seen that they haven't sold for a while. This one sold for $23.99. I believe my cost of goods on this was $3.79. Excuse me. I'm sorry I cropped the head off of this, but this was a horse dish or a horse figurine. I couldn't figure out what this was used for. It was kind of an unusual shaped dish. It is vintage. And I think that you would put it on the sink maybe and put maybe your dish scrubber in it or something, or maybe some soap balls. But I saw that this had sold at one time for $30 and I only paid $1 for it. So I decided to go ahead and pick it up. It did have some chipping around the ears and I didn't believe I could get $30 for it. So I did accept an offer of $20. My profit on that was probably around $16. This is a Johnny Was women's Bianca mesh mock turtleneck top. I sourced this, I believe, on Saks Fifth Avenue, and it sold for $54, and I made a profit, I believe, of $32. And this is a vintage Christmas stamp that says Merry Christmas. This is a larger Christmas stamp, and almost all of my stamps I have like no offers on. I don't have best offers on my stamps, but recently when I started relisting my items that I do every single morning, I will delist and relist or sell similar on about 100 to 200 of my items just to get new eyes on them. And I decided that I was going to one by one add best offer to my stamps, because I had to remind myself that the whole purpose of buying all of these stamps that I have listed was to actually get the algorithms to trigger when they get sold. So I decided that it kind of defeats the purpose not to have best offer on them. So I will go ahead and add best offer when I delist and relist them. This one sold for the full asking price, I believe, for $6, because I don't see best offer on this. And my buying cost was probably like 10 cents on this particular stamp. I always buy stamps in bulk, and I always buy stamps when they are 50 to 75% off in bulk. You know, really a very low buying cost. I don't spend a lot of money on them. And this is a set of Tabletops Unlimited palm tree mugs. This was a set that I got all together. They had all of these mugs grouped together, and they were $3 or maybe a little under $3. And I did sell them for $24.99. Let's see. On these mugs I actually sold twice. I sold them once, and I believe the first time they sold was for like $30, and the buyer spent over $50, including the shipping, and she was like not happy with them, even though I had added in the description that there was some unevenness to the colors. They all didn't look exactly the same. There were little subtle differences. She acted as if she didn't know that, and she returned them. So I sold these twice. I'd probably pick them up again, or pick up the Tabletops melamine cups in all types of patterns if they were a low buy-in. I would never pay up for these. Okay. And this is a pair of Pier 1 Imports pillows, and I listed these and they sold within like 3 days, and they sold for my full asking price. I bought these, I believe, for $2, a little over $2 each. So total of maybe right under $5. And the buyer was super happy. I realized that there was an error in the listing, that I had copied another listing, and there was the keyword feathers, and these are not feather filled, they're actually poly filled. So I had to message the buyer quickly before I sent them out and let her know that these are actually poly filled and not feather filled, and she said that that's even better. So she was very happy with that, and that was a great profit margin to this was a good item to source. And this is a Pavlok 2 wearable bracelet electroshock response biofeedback. This is something that people wear on their wrist, and I guess it shocks them awake for people that have a hard time waking up, or maybe they have a behavior that they want to break, a habit, and I don't know what it is. I would not be wearing it, let me tell you that. But when I saw this, I had no idea what it was. I had to research it. But the comps on it looked really good. There were none listed, but there were many that have sold. So I thought, wow, this has like, you know, a sell-through rate that's like out of this world. So I went ahead and picked it up. I did pay up for this. I'd spent $10 on it. It sold the first time on auction, and there was one other one actually that was listed. I think that one was listed after mine, and it was listed for like $178. And I had no idea really what they would bring because there weren't enough of them listed for sale. But I listed the first one on auction for starting at $99, and someone bought it after 3 days because it was a 3-day auction, and then that person never paid for it. And with eBay, you have to wait like 4 days before you can relist an item that someone purchased and never paid for. So when I relisted it, I decided I wasn't going to, wait for 7 days and then, not even be paid for something. So I decided to relist it as a buy it now and accept best offer. No, actually, I didn't have accept best offer in this one. So this was sold rather quickly the second time I listed it. It sold within a day and they paid right away. That person also left me a great review, so this was a really good item to pick up. If you see this, Pavlok, any of the ones, I think they have like 1, 2, and 3, and they might have other items in this line. I would definitely comp it to see if it's something you should pick up because it sold very well for me and brought a really good profit. And I did not promote this. I didn't think eBay needed to get any of that money because it was a highly desirable item. And this is a Colonel Jack Hayes, Texas Frontier Leader, California Builder, first print, and this book was signed. I don't pick up a lot of books, but I do look at the books, and I always look for old books. I really don't know what to look for other than I look for the age and I look inside and see if it's signed, because this particular book, unsigned, brought about $20 to $30, but signed, it brought a solid $100. So I went ahead and listed it for $100. This one didn't have a cover, and the one that I saw that sold for $100 that was signed didn't have a cover. So I said, okay, I'm going to list this for $100. My buying cost was $2. It took a long time to sell. It probably took about 6 months to sell. Any type of vintage item or older books, they will sell, but they take the right type of buyer. So you have to be willing to sit on vintage items because they are not quick sellers usually. Sometimes they do, but most vintage items will take a while. It takes the right buyer that's looking for that specific item. But what I love about selling vintage items is, first of all, they're pretty cool because they're usually pretty rare and unique. But I also love the fact that they usually have a story with them, and it usually makes somebody who finds it really happy because they've been looking for that item for a long time. I also source items that I call quick sellers, or current items, because when you are a reseller, you do have to source items that are selling regularly along with items that may take a long time to sell. So if you do decide to sell, just keep in mind vintage items will take a while. But I love selling vintage probably more than anything else. So this book sold, and the buyer left me a great review. And this is a brass 5-taper candle holder. This is vintage. These are very saturated. There's all types of different ones, but there's just so many of them. And I think I paid $3, a little over $3 for this. When I received an offer for $21, I took it quickly because of just the saturation rate for these type of brass candelabras are just so high. I just decided I'm just going to sell this, and I probably won't source these unless there's something very unique about them, or unless there's just, a comp on that specific one or exact one that is just amazing. I probably wouldn't pick up brass candle holders, but I never say never. You know, it just depends on all kinds of factors, but it did sell pretty quick. This is a set of blow molds. They're vintage sunflowers. They looked like brand new, but they didn't have a package around them or anything. But my buying cost was just $1 for these, and I had them listed, I think, for $22. I accepted best offer of $17. And I think I showed you guys in the last video a picture that I sold in this Mikasa Poppy Love line. And the pitcher, I believe, sold for $40. Well, these are the salt and pepper shakers. They sold for $44.99. My buying cost was $4.79 for these. And I also sold this to the same person. And this is the sugar bowl. And my buying cost for this was $2.49. It sold for $39.98. And then the creamer. And the creamer was also $2.49. It sold for $34.98. All of these items went to the same buyer. The pitcher I sold a few weeks ago. That one went to a whole separate person. But this buyer bought these 3 items, and she also bought a vintage oil lamp from me as well. So that was a really good sell. And this is a vintage metal wire dove hanging Christmas tree card holder. This I sourced for $1, and the buyer paid full price at $17. She wrote me a great review as well. That's what it looks like all together. And this is a set of Port Marion, England Pomona cherry and plum salt and pepper shakers. My buying cost was $2.29. This brand of salt and pepper shakers, they do really well, and they usually will bring about $34. And they have different fruits, so they're not just cherry and plum. They have like lemon, they have all these different fruits. These do really well, but these had little tiny like flea bite chips on the bottom. They weren't a problem at all, but I just decided to drop my price and get them sold quickly. They still made a pretty nice profit of probably around $18. Oh, here's the lamp that the lady purchased that bought all of the Poppy Love dishes. And it is a vintage farm lamp with like little blue and pink flowers. I sourced this for about $3. It was half price, and she paid $34.99. That was a good sale. The whole lot that she bought was like probably close to $160. It was a really nice profit. Okay, and this is a vintage J. Shen & Co. crayon tin box made in the USA, 1970s. My buying cost was just $1, and it sold for $19.99. Another good review from the buyer, and I spent $1 for this. It took like three or 4 months to sell, so not too long. Anything over 3 months I feel like is a long time to sell, but vintage items, like I said, you can hang on to those for like a year or so before they end up selling. Here's another one of those doll patterns that I picked up in a lot when I spent just 25 cents each for them. This is Designs by Jude, Hollywood, Ahoy. These ones sell typically every single time for $12, and I would alternate the price between $11.99 and $12 every time I would go to delist and relist it. And it sold for $11.99. I think I only have 2 patterns left. I might have more than that, but I believe I have just 2 patterns left in that whole lot of doll patterns. I've made a couple $100 off of $3. It was really crazy. Here is a vintage Ocean Toys vinyl doll girl that with yellow yarn. I believe I accepted an offer on this because I think I had the price set at $14. And this was one of those plushes that I picked up in that plush challenge, and I believe I paid $2, but the comps didn't go very high, so I decided to accept best offer of $10. Here is a pair of women's White House Black Market Denim Bermuda shorts. I've had these over a year. My buying cost was under $1. and they sold finally for $13.99. Here is a sweatshirt that was my sweatshirt that I wore for years and years and got great use out of, and it sold for $18, and I have no idea what I originally paid for it. That is the Pavlok bracelet. I don't know why I have that in there in that order. Here is a Beach Waver rotating hair curling iron barrel. It looked brand new, this curling iron, and my buy-in cost was actually a lot higher than I would usually spend for these. I believe I spent $8 for this, and it took a long time to sell, and I finally accepted best offer of $36. And that is what it looks like. It has a little spinning barrel right here. I don't know if you guys have ever used those, but I'm not, it doesn't work on my hair very good for some reason. Here is a vintage Muppets from Space paint book. This booklet I found at my local Goodwill for 79 cents. And when I looked at the comps, they were really high. Somebody else had one listed for $16, and there was like 12 watchers on it. So of course I picked it up, and then I went back over there in the area that I purchased it thinking maybe there's another one, or maybe there's other ones over there. So let me go back and look. So I went back over there, and there were 2 other books just like this one. One of them, however, the paint was opened, so I left it, but I picked up 2 of them, and one of them has already sold. It sold very quickly within 2 days of listing it for $14. Excuse me. And this is a Tech Sport 9 9-cup stainless percolator outdoor stovetop camping coffee pot. This item I sourced for about $5. I think it was just under $5. But when I saw how, I just grabbed it because I thought it was a great price and it was in great condition. And I don't think I comped it when I sourced it, because if I had, I would have left it, because this item here is so saturated. There's literally just like hundreds of them. So when I saw how saturated it was, I decided to drop the price down very low to get it sold, which it did. Oh, it sold for $14.99. I probably made $4 or $5 on it. This is a R.C. Gorman Navajo Women Chili Peppers 8x8 ceramic tile. And this tile I sourced for just under $3, and I had it listed for a very long time. When the buyer sent me an offer of $18.75, I went ahead and took it. I had it listed for $24. If you see R.C. Gorman painted art tiles and they're signed, they can do really well. And this is a pair of Vince Camuto navy blue leather espadrilles, and they sold for $26.99. These took a while to sell, and I believe my buying cost was just $4. Here is a pair of Cabela's moccasins. I sourced these for just $3. They sold for $24.99. These took about a year to sell. If I found them again for that low of a price, I'd probably pick them up. But if I found them for over $5, I'd probably leave them. And this is a book, The World We Live In. It's a coffee table book. I picked this book up along with another book that was also a life book. I think it was a cookbook. And I got them each for $1 at a yard sale. This one took a very long time to sell. It eventually sold for $14.98. I would probably pick it up again, but it wasn't the easiest book to ship. I had to actually find a box that it would fit in. And so I don't know if I would pick up a book that big for such a small profit range. Probably not, even for $1. And this is a brand new Jellycat Fuddle Wuddle puppy. And this is a plush that I picked up with my plush challenge. My buying cost was $2.29, and it sold for $21.98. This actually sold very quickly, probably took about 2 or 3 weeks to sell. Here is a pair of Danceco booties, and they sold for $44. My buying cost was $7. I would pick up Danceco almost every time. that I see Dansko. As long as it's in good condition and my buying cost isn't that high, I would pick up Dansko. And here's a blouse that was mine. This is an unbranded blouse. It was really cheaply made, and I really described it in the description. I didn't say cheaply made, but I really let the buyer know that the blouse was super thin. It was one of those blouses I ordered offline, and I think it came from China. It had no branding in it. It just had like the sizing tag on it. And if you ever go sourcing and you find clothing to source, that's a dead giveaway of something you probably don't want to pick up, is if there is no brand name on it and it just has a size tag at the collar. You don't want to pick that up. But I did describe this in the listing. I did let the buyer know that it was super thin fabric and, you know, all the things. I think I maybe tried it on, but I don't think I ever wore it. And I did accept an offer of $8. I think I had it listed for $10, and this is on Poshmark. Here is another J. Jill blouse that I sold on Poshmark. I did source this, I believe, at a Goodwill. It had the tags on it, and it was only $5. It sold for $32. This blouse surprisingly took a long time to sell, and I think that that's due to the size. It was a petite, and petite for some reason doesn't sell very fast for me. Here is a pair of Kenneth Cole. I'm not sure what the shoe name is for this. I'm trying to look really quick in my orders and get the right name for that. Kenneth Cole. I think that they're Soul something. And of course, my computer is taking a while to load. Let's see what those are called. I go all the way down to September here. Kenneth, those are a different type. Okay, Gentle Souls by Kenneth Cole. I sourced these for just $3, and they sold full price on Poshmark for $35. Like, I didn't even send out an offer on this. I was really excited when I woke up to that sale. And here's a pair of Dansko boots. These boots were a larger size. They have the buckle right here. And let me see what the name of those is. My buying cost for those boots was just under $5. And that was a really good sell for me. I think I had those listed for no, I guess I did have them listed up at $59. They sold for full price on Poshmark. Again, another full price sale. These ones looked really good. They had a little bit of issues on the back of the heel, but other than that, they looked like they were brand new. And here is I gotta look at the names of these. I think it's Sam and something. Is it Sam and Libby? That's one thing on the sold items. They don't actually have the names of the items. So I gotta go look up the item here. Sam. Here it is. That is a Sam and Jess Sam and Jess blouse, and I think I had it listed with the tags like cottage, boho, maybe romantic, sweet, things like that. I had it hashtagged, my description titles. And this is a LL Bean 100% cotton sweater. This one took a long time to sell. I think I had it priced too high. It's vintage, and I think that with LL Bean, the fisherman cable net sweaters like this, they can go really high, but only the wool ones really bring like a really big profit. And this one was 100% cotton, so I did eventually drop my price down a little bit just to get it sold. And I had this listed for quite a while. I had this listed on eBay and Mercari as well, and a lot of interest in it, but no takers with the offers I sent out. So I decided, okay, I got to drop the price. It's priced too high. And these are some really cool neoprene my Neosins, Neosins boots. And they looked brand new, and I'm trying to think, did I have them listed as new? I don't think I had them listed as new, but they could have passed as new. But unless I'm very, very sure that the item is new, I'll never list it as, new without box unless I know for sure. And these were boots that are made in Spain. I had the description tags listed like steampunk, Victorian, granny core, all those types of titles to try to attract buyers. They were listed for a couple of months. I thought these would sell quicker because they were very rare boots. I've seen them sold in black, but they finally sold for $48 on Poshmark. My buy-in cost for those was under $8, and that was a really good profit margin. And this is the cutest little vintage porcelain puppy dish. It was like a dish with a lid, like to put your little earrings in, or like to put, next to your bed and put like, mints in it, or like your earrings when you take them off, or maybe like medication or something. But it was super cute, and I knew it would sell fast, and I feel like now I should have like priced it up because I think I just didn't want to let it go. I think I wanted to keep it for myself. But anyway, my buy-in cost was just $1. It sold really quickly on Poshmark for $12. That is one thing I'm noticing about Poshmark. At one time I had hard goods listed on Poshmark, but at that time they had a exception that when you sent an offer out, you had to also give discount shipping, and they don't have that requirement anymore. So I decided to relist all these hard goods on the Posh, and for some reason, especially this week, I've sold a lot of hard good items. I've sold like bundles of hard goods, and it really surprised me. And I think it's because these items float through everyone's feeds, and so they see the item, whereas on eBay, unless you're actually keying in that item in the search and looking for that item, you don't ever see it. So I think that people on Poshmark are maybe buying items that they didn't intend on buying, but they just couldn't resist, because this would be one that would float through my feed and I would say, oh my gosh, that's adorable, I have to have that. And this is a pair of, I think these are Clarks. Let me see. Okay, these are a pair of Clarks Bendables black leather ankle booties. My buy-in cost was just $3. I knew they wouldn't bring a lot of money, but whenever I see shoes like this that are priced so low and they are in really good condition and they're a brand like Clarks, I will go ahead and pick them up. Even if they bring $10, it's a very easy, quick flip for me. Okay, and this is a vintage beaded glass lamp, and this lamp, what do I have it hashtagged of? Let me see. Glass beaded fringe, white molted, frosted round replacement boudoir lampshade. That was my listing title. And I bought 2 of these at the same time, and they were a little under $5, and they sold really quick. I had them listed on eBay, and for some reason they just sat, and so I cross-listed them to Poshmark, and this one sold really quick. I sold the other one last week, which will be in my next video for the month of October solds, but they sold really, really quick. This one, actually, I took an offer of $27. The other one that I sold, they paid full price of $40. And there was also an issue, the gold fringe, or not fringe, but the gold threading that goes right around this area right here, it was all unraveled and coming off, and I had to list that in the description that this would need to be rethreaded, and they still sold. So I will always pick up vintage lampshades. I also sold another lampshade that went to, that sold on Mercari, that sold like 2 weeks ago, and then today I sold another vintage lampshade. So always look for vintage lampshades. Those are usually not priced up, and they sell very quickly. This is a blouse that was mine as well. This is a Michael Kors cold shoulder shirt, long sleeve, dark blue green peacock, And this one sold really quickly for me. I've had this blouse forever. I never wore it. It was very long on me, and it sold for $18.05. And I don't know what I paid for it, but probably not that much. And I guess that's it. So those are some of the items that sold for the month of September. I will be doing another video for the month of October. Sales have been really slow the last couple of months, especially for me the last 2 to 3 weeks. And in some of my eBay mentor groups, a lot of people are saying the same thing. Sales are down about 30% for everybody. I'm hoping that sales will pick up soon. It might be like the election, it might be the economy, it might be, eBay algorithm issues. It could be a whole lot of things. I've been selling more on Poshmark the last week than I've sold on eBay, which is really unusual because I have 3 times more items listed on eBay. So hopefully things will pick up. I hope that you guys are all doing well and you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.